Hey, how's it going, chaperones? Just wanted to give you a quick update with the trip coming up Friday. Kind of let you know where we're at. We've got 84 kids signed up. We're going to have two buses with trailers. That's going to be for all the kids' stuff, so we're going to be pretty packed on there. I'm going to have a couple of chaperones, maybe one or two on each bus, the younger ones, that can handle that kind of ride. The other chaperones will be riding in a van driven by my brother or my truck driven by Rob Becker. That truck's going to have an enclosed trailer, and that's going to be for chaperones' gear. So, chaperones don't have to put their stuff on the trucks that are attached to the vans. We're going to put them right in that enclosed trailer, so we keep it separate. Kids kind of have a knack for just seeing something and saying, hey, I could use that on this trip. Next thing you know, it's gone. So we always got to be on the lookout for that. So I've got Mark and Joe, my two dads, driving with their daughters. I've got Perry driving with his dad. And we'll meet up with those guys somewhere along the way and make sure we get some gas for you guys. Let's see if I can get this to move here. All right, so our plan stops, just so you know, assuming we get out of the high school by 7 o'clock. We're going to load up on the east side. So anybody that's riding with us, any chaperones, you can just pull right up. You'll see the truck with the enclosed trailer. Put your stuff in there. You can park in the staff parking. Anybody that doesn't work in the building, I'll just have to give your information to the security people so they know that you're with us. So assuming we leave at 7, assuming construction's not that bad, we're going to hopefully get up to the rest area on the top of the hill near Duluth. It's actually in Proctor around 10 o'clock. So that'll be a quick stop, get everybody to use the bathroom, take in the scenery, back on the bus, and we're gone. Next stop will be Grand Marais, and so that's going to be for bathroom and lunch, a little longer stop, probably about an hour. Try to get back on the buses around 1 and head on up to the campground to hopefully arrive around 3 o'clock. So this is the area we'll be coming into right here, the Gunflint Trail. This is the end of the trail where our campsite is. So basically we'll just pull the buses up. I'll show you a little more information about that in a second. So we have two options when we're canoeing out here. We can go from this launch right here and go north on Seagull, the Seagull River, or we can go south to Seagull Lake. So the Seagull River comes in here, and basically anything from these rapids on north is not open for fishing. So the fishing is going to have to basically take place over here. There's one other spot way in the north side of the Seagull River they can go. But one of the issues, looking at the forecast, and the forecast is not perfect. I'm trying to go through Ely, International Falls, and Grand Rapids, and none of those places are exactly close to where we're going. So the forecast is calling for strong southeast winds, 10 to 15, which is pretty considerable with a bunch of rookies in canoes. Kids have done really well canoeing, but we haven't canoed in any wind yet. Quite like this, and especially when it comes blown through here, it can be kind of treacherous. So it's going to have to be kind of a game time decision when we come up to this opening here. There's a little current coming through there that the kids have to get through, or they can portage around. I'll show you a little more about that in a second. But since the water temps are pretty cold, we're going to try to stay right along the shoreline when we canoe. So for anybody going down to Palisade, which is kind of a cool place, they would canoe all the way along here and then try to get on the other side of these islands and work their way through. It's not hard to find. Big granite rock wall. You'll know it as soon as you come through here. And then you access it from this point over here. Okay, so the outfitter mentioned that we have to really make sure we don't exceed 9 in our group. Excuse me. So once we get into the boundary waters, which is anywhere from here on over to here, okay, once we head, west of that, we've got to be in 9 or less, otherwise we could get fined, and they'll fine the entire group. So we got to be careful of that. If a group wanted to go this direction and stay in a huge group, that's perfectly fine. They can have as many as they want in a group over here. But we'd like to get the kids into the boundary waters so they can experience that. But if they wanted to go back and canoe over here in one huge group, that's absolutely fine. They can come down through here. It's all posted along here where the boundary water starts. So they've said they've only had one group up in the outfitter that has been tagged in the last 20 years. And back then it was about, I think it was 20 years ago, it was about $10 per head. So I'm sure it's a little bit more right now. So we got to be really aware of that. So the kids all know canoe rescue. If somebody goes in, we just got to make sure they're not out in the middle of the lake. And so along here, if they do happen to go in, they can get out of the water. The kids all know how to get the canoes emptied and flipped over. And then basically, if that were to happen, which hasn't happened really much at all, once last year, and that was it. They would have to canoe back as soon as possible, get back to their site, get their wet clothes off. They all know to wear fast drying clothes, polyester kind of clothes as their base layer. So if that were to happen, they wouldn't be sitting in soaked clothes for too long, hopefully. So moving on here, this is the opening right here. Hopefully this video works. But basically, I'm coming through with these kids a couple years ago. The video is brutal, but I'm trying not to drop my phone and steer the canoe at the same time. So coming through is pretty easy. You basically just coast right in the middle, keep the canoe pointed straight. So you get an idea of the current here. Now it might be a little bit more this year, you never know. But going the other direction, you got to basically just stay pointed straight and not end up hitting any of these rocks on either side. So if it looks like they're not going to make it, the person in the back of the canoe can't, keep the canoe going straight. They should just basically stop paddling, drift back. The other groups are going to wait back here a ways. This is the portage right here, right over in that spot. And so basically that's what we've got. So all the groups were able to get through there last year. So the biggest thing is they don't want to collide. So if a group's going, give them space. Once they get through, another group can go. But they always have to be ready for another group that's going to be maybe coming back, through the current, because that could be another case where they'd flip. So here's our campsite. We're going to be in all these campsites down here. Actually, not these, but these over here. So we come in on the Gunflint Trail here, take the first right through the parking lot. Outfitters over here. Drive around and get to this point, take a right. I'm going to have one bus stop right here, and that's going to be for the kids who are in these sites right here. We have another one drive up here, stop right there. That's going to be for the kids in this site. So they won't have far to drag or to bring their equipment and coolers. So basically, the only thing I'm concerned about is 16, which is a walk-up site. I don't know why anybody would want to camp in the middle of a bunch of high school kids, but we'll see. Hopefully we can get that site because I do have kids assigned. If that one's taken, we're going to have to go up here, which is not ideal, but doable. These sites are all up higher than down here. You can't even walk down here, so you have to walk all the way around. So I probably have another group of chaperones stay up here. Right now, the chaperone sites are 21, 14, and 28 probably. That's where I'm looking at. So we're going to all be in some of these, and we'll talk about that when we get there. I'm not exactly sure how big 14 is, but I have a pretty good idea of the rest of them. But if we have to go up here, not the end of the world. It'll be just fine. There's a bathroom and water up there as well. So when we, the next day, the first Saturday and Sunday, the kids are going to plan their trips and they're going to share this information with you. And Saturday morning, we're going to have to all walk back, grab their canoes and or grab their paddles and life jackets. And they're going to have already decided, are they going to go the Seagull River Loop or Seagull River trek, which their canoes will be waiting right here, or the Seagull Lake run, which their canoes will be laying right here. So when you get over there, you can basically just grab the canoes and fill out the little permit right by the landing and keep one copy, put the other copy in the box, and you're good to go. So that's going to be something the kids are going to figure out here tomorrow in class. And then we'll go from there. So when they get back, they can just put the canoes right back on the landing. They can put their life jackets and paddles right underneath the canoes, flip the canoes upside down, and they're good to go. So Sunday, depending on what they do, depending on the weather, even Saturday, if it's a serious downpour, kids are probably not going to want to go canoeing. But as long as we don't have any thunder or lightning or anything like that, they can definitely still canoe. But if they hear any rumble off in the distance, it's time to get off the lake, and so they'll all be aware of all this as well. All right, so this is the other loop up here, north. So this is our campsite down here, and so they'll walk down to the outfitter. Here's the public landing, and this should all be really calm water if we have a strong southeast wind. So they could canoe all the way up here. It's probably about 3 miles, 3.5 miles. And once you cross this line, obviously you're in the boundary waters, but they can fish up here only. They can't fish along there, and there'll be buoys sitting in the water that remind them not to fish. Campsites all along here they can do. They can do a quick portage if they want. But, sorry about that, I got to backtrack. Once you get up here, this is Big Sag, it's big water. The Canadian border is not too far. We don't want to go any farther than that. So hugging the shores the whole way when they get up there, that's about it. And then they can come back. So that's a pretty good canoe run right there for a lot of these kids. They're not used to canoeing that far. If they wanted to canoe down here, there's basically cabins and resorts and some outfitters along here. But it's definitely more scenic up here. You might see some animals up there, you never know. I saw a moose right in this little gap one time a few years back. So it's kind of a cool spot. So that's the update. I'll try to check in with everybody before Friday. If you can think of any equipment or anything you need, let me know. And otherwise, we'll be ready to roll on Friday. But I appreciate you guys all doing this. Couldn't do it without you. And I'll have the food and everything ready to go. We'll eat like kings and queens up there. So let me know if you have anything else you need. And looking forward to seeing everybody on Friday. Thanks.